Thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy Sundays. I know even if you're not busy, Sunday's a hard day to just get out and come to these kinds of things, so it's so beautiful to come out and support a community organization and also to come and listen to me. So I'm excited to share about a topic that resonates, I think, deeply with so many of you and definitely resonates with me. Just a little background about me. I'm a mental health counselor, a licensed mental health counselor. I work in the community. I have an office here in Cedarhurst. And I am a parent also. So the topic of this talk today is growing together, building stronger relationships with your kids through every stage. So some of you here may have little kids, may have teenagers, may have adult kids, may have grandchildren. And I really did think about each stage when I prepared this talk, so I hope that something resonates with everybody in this room. And of course, I would love feedback afterwards. So as parents, we pour our hearts into raising our kids, and it's easy to feel like we've missed the mark. I know that I'm always thinking, what am I doing? What are they going to tell their therapist about me? How am I messing up, right? And I know that you probably, especially if you have adult children, might be thinking, I messed up. I really, it's too late. I really did the damage already. And I say, it's never too late. It really is never too late. And I've had people in my office who are young parents, and I've had people who are older parents with adult children, and I've helped them to repair and to renew and to have beautiful relationships. You cannot change the past, you can change the future. So even if you did make mistakes and mess up, that doesn't mean that you can't clean up the mess and make a better relationship going forward. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. Yes. So whether they're toddlers, teens, adults, and again, even in your role as a grandparent, today we're going to explore how you can foster that connection through respectful parenting, repairing past hurts, and developing stage-specific skills to heal those relationships, and even embrace grandparenting as a chance to heal and grow. So the power of connection. Our relationship with our children is lifelong. The early years lay the foundation, but if you think about it, the majority of your relationship with your children is when they're adults. They're really only in our home and little, right? Little is not 18, but they're really kids for only about 16 years of their life, right? And we could argue at what age they really stop caring what you think and what you say and stop thinking you're the best in the whole wide world. But it's a very brief amount of time, and I think a lot of the time parents get caught up in the little stuff when they're little. Don't hit your brother, and don't scream, and don't talk to me like that, and they don't think about what is the long haul here, what's the greater goal. I want them to become we're raising adults, we're not raising kids, we're raising adults. We want them to be good people, we want them to stay connected to us, we want to stay connected to them. So I think we have to kind of remember that, the majority of the years that we're spending with them, they're going to be adults, and that's what we want to focus on. We want to seek connection. We want them to want to come to us for guidance, and we want to have a new relationship with them when they no longer depend on us for making them dinner and, changing their clothes and doing their laundry and whatever it is. And the famous poet Maya Angelou said, and I love this line, do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. That mindset should be our anchor. And it's a very Jewish mindset, by the way. We believe it's never too late to learn and to grow and to deepen our bond. The whole concept of tshuva is that it is never too late. Anybody, even at the last minute, could turn around and change his life. So this is something that we should believe in all our relationships for sure, but 100% with our children. And I always say the parent-child relationship is unique in that no matter what, a child always wants a relationship with their parent. Even when they're deeply hurting and they're wounded, they always want that connection with their parent. So this is a relationship that if you really could put in the effort, you could turn it around. Parenting evolves, right? When they're young, we are the center of their universe. And as teens, they kind of push us away. They want their independence. We don't know anything. We're clueless. We're annoying. We're nerdy. We're embarrassing, whatever it is. And then hopefully as adults, they come back and they seek out our advice. They want us to be their advisors, the listeners, the babysitters for the grandkids maybe, whatever it is. Grandparenting is, like I said, another opportunity to nurture that bond with your children. So through every stage, kids are craving connection with their parents and grandparents. Biologically, we're wired for this bond. We come into this world seeking connection. It's literally how we survive. Without it, we can't survive. So even if you feel like you've made mistakes with your child and their children even with your grandchildren, maybe you feel like you overstepped and you messed up, you can still, again, this is your hope and opportunity, you can make things better. So understanding the past and embracing respectful parenting. Many of us were raised or raised our own kids with that idea of parenting was because I said so, right? I know I was certainly raised that way. I'm a child of the 80s. Definitely was like kids are seen, not heard. That's what I said, don't ask questions. I do not believe that my parents meant to be mean. That was just common parenting practices, right? Apologizing was undermining authority. Parents don't apologize to kids. And respect was compliance. It wasn't mutual understanding. So we didn't have, back in the day, my parents, you possibly if you were parenting in that day, you didn't have the insights into emotional health and validation that we have now, like that we understand. So again, like I said, I think most parents were not trying to harm their kids. They were just following the good parenting practices that were being advised. That's what the parenting books said to do. That's what the doctor said to do. Everybody was just doing their best. And I think that's good to keep in mind too when you want to make the repair. By the way, about any mistakes you've made in life, just say, I was doing the best with whatever I knew, and now that I know better, I want to do better. We don't have to beat ourselves up about the things that we messed up. We don't have to beat ourselves up that we didn't make the effort to know, or we knew, but we didn't try hard enough. It's irrelevant. I want to do different now, and that's where I'm going to go. Because shame keeps us stuck. We really have to learn to forgive ourselves and open up to change and growth. So now that we know better, right, respectful parenting, right, I know some of you have heard like gentle parenting. I know that tends to be more controversial. People think that that means no boundaries and your kids can do whatever you want. So I like the idea of respectful parenting better. Just sounds more in line with what it actually is, right, which is balancing warmth and boundaries. It treats kids like people with valid feelings, and it models respect by listening, validating emotions, and apologizing when wrong. This can build trust and emotional security, whether your child is 5, 50, or it's your grandkids, right? Again, you can even repair with your grandkids. This is important. If you've thought at any point, I wish I knew this sooner, again, do not let shame stop you. At every moment in this talk, I don't want shame to creep in and say, oh my God, what is she saying? I ruined it. It's great. I want you to take this and say, okay, I have all this new information. I want to start making changes. And that does not mean, just FYI, that you're going to go home now and call up your kids and be like, you're spitting back all the lines I told you, and then you're going to skip off them in sunset. They might have hurt feelings, and that's a separate conversation, but still making the effort and showing that you care is very impactful. So the art of repair, that's really like the cornerstone here of respectful parenting and really any relationship, repair. And here I like the idea of repair more than an apology, because an apology is usually like, I'm sorry, okay, can we move on? And I feel like repair, it kind of wants to shut down a conversation apology, and repair is, I want to open up a conversation. I want to talk about what happened, right? Apologies are like, let's forget what happened, let's keep going, everyone should feel better. And repair says, I want to understand what happened, I want to take accountability, I want to know how you're feeling, and I want to make this better. So it's really essential at every stage, from the time they're little to make a repair with them, even when they're acting all sorts of whatever, till when they're adults. And again, when we're repairing with our kids and are apologizing, we're actually modeling appropriate, healthy relationship skills, right? We need to learn to apologize to our partners. Don't tell your husbands I said, you have to admit when you're wrong, yeah, but you do, right? We have to apologize. This is like a wonderful skill that maintains and builds love and trust in our relationships. But Esther Perel, she's a famous therapist. I don't know if any of you have heard of her, but she says repair isn't a happy ending. It's healing, and healing takes time. And again, that's something to remember. You might make a repair with your child or your spouse or whoever, your sister, and it might take a little bit of time. Maybe they're not coming around and they're not feeling the repair so quickly, but just remembering that it doesn't happen overnight. And again, the more hurt there is, it might take more time. Clinical psychologist Harriet Lerner, she's actually written a very famous book, Why Won't You Apologize? She teaches that true repair makes your child feel heard, validated, and understood, and showing remorse and commitment to change. So here's a script for repair that I like, assuming just a generally healthy relationship, meaning there's not too much baggage there. So you can go to your older child, it could even be a teenager, by the way, and you can say, I've been reflecting on like how I parented you, or how Daddy and I, you could talk with your husband beforehand, get his okay on this. How Abba and I, how Daddy and I were, how we parented you, and I realized that things like dismissing your feelings, or sending to your room, or insisting that you had to do what we said because we said so, I realized like that wasn't okay. And even though I thought they were right then, I realize it probably hurt you, and I'm really sorry, and I love you, and I just want to do better. And for some, like, I've seen this happen in my office, and like tears come. Like, that's all a kid needed to hear. And by the way, again, even a teenager sometimes, the walls come down. Like, thank you so much for saying that. Wow. And again, what a model of I can mess up, and I can take accountability, and I can always change, and I can always do better. This is what we want our kids to do. Don't stay stuck in your ways and refuse to change. If you know that you can do better, do it. And look, I'm modeling that exact behavior that I want you to exhibit yourself. And again, expect those varied responses. They might need time to, or they might want to say something about how they feel. And again, remember that when you're saying this, you're not saying it for the purpose of that Disney ending where they're like loving you and the relationship is beautiful. You're saying it because it's the right thing to do. And so if they come at you with, oh, but you were so mean, and I hear you. Thank you for sharing your feelings with me. It might even be hard to hear some of the things they're saying. And I would say just try your best not to respond. Don't defend. I'm apologizing. This is how you treat me now. I hear you. Thank you so much. It's hard for me to hear these things. It hurts to know that I hurt you so much. But I'm glad we're talking, and we're going to continue these conversations. Again, I know this is very hard to do. I am a human before I am a therapist, and I am a flawed human. So I know that these things are very hard to do, but I say just because it's hard doesn't mean we don't have to do it, right? We know, again, even as Jews, like, it's hard. It's hard doing those mitzvot and halacha and holidays. There's so many hard aspects of life, but we do them anyway. And we know that, the reward is great in the end. So especially with our relationships with the people that we love. Process your shame or guilt separately, like I said, with a therapist, with a good friend, ideally a therapist, because friends, that might be a lot. And the best apology is change behavior, right? Remember that. And remember that you like that in your own life. It's not enough just to say sorry, you want to see a difference. Listening without judgment or explaining. And again, repair builds trust. So some key skills for each parenting stage. So to grow together, we need skills tailored to each stage that are grounded in respectful parenting. I'm just going to go through a bunch of different stages. Early childhood, which is like ages 0 to 5. Our goal is building trust and emotional safety. So again, even if you have grandkids, if you don't have kids that are 0 to 5, but you have grandkids, this is good to know. And this is about your relationship with them, meaning you're not going to comment on your child's parenting. So you're not going to say, oh, I was at a lecture and this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're going to do with your grandchildren. So the skill is emotional co-regulation. So kids rely on us to manage big emotions and to stay calm and to name their feelings. So when they're upset, you're mad because you can't have that toy. Your sister left you out. Close the door because her friend is here and she doesn't want you in the room and you feel so bad about it. You're so mad. That's what we do. We name the feelings. And other comfort. We teach that emotions are safe. It's okay. You still can't go and bother your sister when her friend is over, but I'm going to acknowledge that that still feels bad, right? We're going to do that. So again, if you're babysitting and the parents are leaving and you're left with your screaming grandkids, oh, you're so sad that mommy and daddy left. You miss them so much. Instead of, you don't like Bubby? You don't like when I baby? We don't do that, right? You might think it, right? The kid always cries when I'm here. Oh, you really want mommy and daddy. They're coming back soon and we're going to play. And that's what we do. And we shift, right? We don't shame it. Stop crying. Bubby comes all the time. Daddy's here. We leave it, right? Not that any of you do that, obviously. And next skill, respectful guidance. Explain simple rules. We hold hands to stay safe. Instead of demanding obedience, not, you don't run across the street. If you run across the street, that's very scary. You could get hurt. Hold my hand, stand next to me, let's go together. Respond patiently and showing them that their voice matters. I get you were so excited, you couldn't wait because you saw, Mayor across the street, but we don't run, that's dangerous. Hold my hand. And again, if you snap at them for spilling their juice or this happens, I'm sorry, I got upset. Spills happen, let's clean it up together, right? Very important. And again, we all have those times. I know for me, a mess is a big trigger. So I know I worked on it a lot, but I know that I used to, right away, if something was spilled, oh my God. I really had to learn to just, don't react, Just that deep breath that Bracha was teaching us, take that deep breath before you say anything. And then if we do react like that, because it's hard when you're trying to undo that automatic response, I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't right. It's not your fault. Spills happen. I spill too. Would I like it if someone screamed at me every time I spilled? It's not like I did it on purpose. I'm sorry. Ima's working on this, and it's not your fault. And again, kids see, wow, okay, I'm not a bad person. I'm a human. I made a mistake, and my mom or my dad is apologizing. Middle childhood, ages 6 to 12, fostering communication and respect. This is what we want to teach them. So the skill is active listening. We listen without interrupting. We ask open-ended questions. What was the best part of your day? Who did you eat with? what was for lunch today? Did you guys, what games did you play in the playground? That kind of stuff. And we validate their thoughts, respecting their individuality. So when they come home, they're like, oh, I played with whatever, but she's so annoying. You know, oh, that's a very bad Nito. We don't talk about our friends that way. Oh, wow, she's annoying. What happened? Why do you feel like she's annoying? Oh, that's rough. Oh, you know, that is kind of annoying. I hear you. So what do we do when we find that someone's annoying? Should we tell them? And it could be a conversation where we talk about proper Nito and that we don't tell people they're annoying, but we don't start lecturing our kids when they're venting to us, especially because we want to be that person they vent to. And if we shut it down with judgment and lessons, they're not going to talk to us anymore. So remembering that. The next skill is collaborative problem solving. Involve them in the solutions. So how can we make sure everyone's homework is done before we take out the iPads or before we watch TV or before we go outside? Instead of, we're just not using iPads. No devices. Do your homework. That's the because I said so, right? And again, when we get frustrated and we start yelling because we can't stand the sight of devices or whatever, apologize. Guys, I'm sorry. I was getting frustrated. I just want everyone to do what they're supposed to do. Like, we know it's homework time. I shouldn't have yelled. Let's keep going, right? And also, again, if you they're scared about a presentation at school and they're worried about it and you're like, don't worry, it's going to be fine, you always forget. I'm sorry, I did not take your anxiety, your worry seriously. Let's talk about what's making you nervous. Again, very simple lines. It's not a whole big to-do. Adolescents, ages 13 to 18, we want to support their independence with boundaries. Very important, because I know some parents think, oh, if I just let them hang out till all hours and I let them, I'm the cool parent that allows alcohol with their friends in my house, then that's great. No, we still need to be responsible parents. We still need to understand what's appropriate for children. We don't put a 13-year-old behind the wheel. We don't give, it's 16-year-olds alcohol, even though we're in the house. They should experiment when I'm there. No, we still set boundaries. So balancing autonomy and guidance, right? That's one of the skills. We give space for choices with clear explained rules. So home by 10 o'clock, so we know that you're safe, right? And then any efforts and whatever, we praise them. Great, thank you so much for being responsible. I know that was hard because everybody stayed, but you came home. I'm really impressed with how mature and responsible you are. The next skill is respecting their perspective. We want to validate their emotions, even if they're dramatic, right? So if you have teenagers, boys and girls, I know girls get a bad rap, they're so dramatic. Boys are pretty dramatic too. So they have this fight with their friends or whatever, or the teacher, they hate the teacher, the worst teacher in the whole wide world, and the teacher, everybody hates the teacher. I always say, teachers, one day when I'm a millionaire, I'm setting up a fund for you, and I'm going to give you the money that you all deserve because you are really the holiest people that do the holiest work. So I just want to say that. But I see you're so upset about this fight. Oh, it's rough. Yeah, listen, teachers, it can feel annoying. They're making you do this work all day. You can't talk to your friends. It's rough. Let's talk about it. We discuss. We don't dictate. We don't want to have power struggles. And again, the goal is to always keep the conversation open. You should be able to come talk to me. I want you to come to me or to your father to talk about these things. I don't want you going to your doofus friends for advice. Come to me. So I want to make sure that when you do, I'm not shutting you down or judging you or lecturing you. Right? So again, we also have to know, what are the triggers? If we are very nervous about, we don't want people to think our kids are disrespectful, so our kid did something that might be perceived as disrespectful, so we start freaking out. Take a deep breath. My kid is just being a kid, and they're still a good kid. So I need to just focus on what is the goal here. I want them to be respectful, so I need to be able to have a fruitful conversation here. And if I start yelling at them, it's not going to happen. Take that deep breath. I do have a respectful child. They're just doing what they're supposed to do, testing limits, and I'm going to bring that boundary in, and I'm going to teach the appropriate behavior. Adulthood, ages 18 plus. And this is hard. And again, I want to validate also, I have two in the 13 to 18 age range right now, and it's hard, right? And then as they become adults, it gets scary because again, you kind of feel like they're slipping away, but it doesn't have to feel like that, right? It should feel like now we can actually have such a beautiful friendship almost, right? Meaning they're not my friend, they can be your friend, but obviously in a different way that you don't share your struggles with them, you don't talk to them about your marriage, that kind of thing, but there is more of a friendship. We can go out and have adult conversations. We can talk about what's going on in the world, right? So it's a beautiful thing once they're adults. And then they're transitioning with you to, like I said, more of a peer relationship. So the skill that you want to have is respecting their autonomy. And this is hard. Again, when you see your adult children in college or when they're married or when they're dating and they're making decisions that you don't like, you must respect, and advise only when asked, and you have to show trust in their abilities. What you can do if you feel like you see them doing something that you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you could say, I trust you, and I believe that you are the guide of your life. Just like let me know if it's okay if I could like give 2 cents of input and like choose to do what you want with it. You could totally ignore it and throw it away. I just want to like weigh in a little bit. Let me know. And again, if you let them know that like they could ignore it and whatever, sometimes they're more willing to hear. And you don't always have to stay silent. Meaning if you see they're doing something and you want to weigh in, can I just like offer my 2 cents? Do what you want with it. But like I can't just stand by and not say anything. I feel like it's important. Another skill, ongoing repair. Again, this is so important, certainly when they're kids, but again, as they're adults, apologizing for past hurts, like being critical or dismissive, and then using that script above that I gave you, and consistent repair. It deepens that connection with your kids. So again, an example, if you were controlling as a parent, I'm sorry for making you feel like your choices didn't matter. I really want to support you now, right? And again, it's such a beautiful thing to hear. Think about if one of your parents came to you and said some of these things now, how that would feel. Some of you might feel like you would be like, yeah, too late. And some of you feel like, yeah, I wish my mother would say that to me. I wish my father would just turn around and just see that. It would make things so much easier. So imagine doing that for your own child. So these skills like co-regulation, listening, collaboration, repair, and meeting your, and repair, they meet your child's evolving needs while they keep respect and connection central. So now grandparenting. Almost done here. Grandparenting. This is a chance to heal and connect. So any grandparents in the room or soon to be grandparents, or you think in a few years, God willing, you could be grandparents. Grandparenting offers a unique opportunity to heal past parenting mistakes, and it strengthens your relationship with both your adult children and your grandchildren. So by applying these respectful parenting principles, you can model healthy connection, repair old wounds, and you can even create new memories. And I've even met people that have said, like, so much of my childhood is healed through watching my parents be grandparents, you know? So it's a really beautiful thing. You can really do that. And it doesn't even have to, you don't have to be like, look, me and my sheep, 5 years old, gone, right? You don't have to do that. Just be that grandparent, right? So your role as a grandparent can soften those past hurts by showing your adult child this different side of you, right? One that's empathetic, supportive, and willing to grow and change. So here's 2 scenarios with scripts that will illustrate that. So the scenario here is repairing past dismissiveness. So where you dismissed your child's feelings, you didn't pay attention, you told them, stop it, quit crying, you're so dramatic, whatever it is. So the context was, let's say you dismissed your daughter's your adult daughter's emotions as a child, and you would say things like, stop crying, it's not a big deal. And now as a grandparent, you see your granddaughter upset, and you want to show your daughter you've changed, and you want to bond with your grandchild. So you would use respectful parenting to validate your granddaughter's feelings and repair with your daughter. So with your grandchild, you get down to her level, right? That's what we do with kids, get down to eye level, and you say, ugh, I see you're really sad because your toy is broken. It's okay to feel upset. Do you want to tell me about it, or do you want to try to fix it together, right? And then with your adult child later, you can say, you know, I've been thinking a lot about how I used to tell you to stop crying when you were little. And I see it wasn't fair to your feelings, and I'm really sorry for how that hurt you. And I'm really trying to do better with, you know, Shira. And I really want to know, like, if you have any more ideas on how I could support her and you better, I want to hear about it. And again, your kid might be like, what? Who are you? Like, what? And just say, I know, I went to a therapist talk, I'm trying, right? And the impact is that your daughter sees your growth and that your granddaughter learns emotional validation, and you're healing those past patterns, right? So you're a great role model for your granddaughter. Your daughter sees this new side of you, and there's healing there. The next scenario would be like overstepping boundaries. So the context is, as a parent, maybe you were over-controlling, and you insisted your son follows your rules without any discussion. Now he's a parent, and you overstepped his rules by giving his son extra snacks. That's what grandparents do, right? We can argue whether or not that's a problem, but whatever. Giving his son extra snacks against his rules, and it's causing tension, because he's like, whenever he comes to the house, you give him too much, and his stomach hurts. Stop feeding him so much. So the action is you're going to apologize and you're going to respect his boundaries as a parent. So with the adult child, you say, I'm really sorry for giving Yaakov all those extra snacks when you asked me not to. I realize now I was repeating old habits of thinking that I knew best, like when you were young, and I really regret how controlling I was, and I want to respect your parenting and your boundaries now. So how can I better support your rules? And again, maybe there could be a middle ground of like, yeah, it should be fun to come to Bubby's house and get all those snacks, but maybe I could learn to rein it in a little bit and maybe send him home with a snack versus stuffing him at my house, right? And with the grandchild, age appropriate, obviously, it depends how old they are, you can say, you know what, I made a mistake by giving you those extra snacks when Daddy said no, and I really want to follow his rules because Daddy knows what's best for you. So let's just find a fun activity we can do instead. Because if the kid already learned, whenever I come to Bubby's house, I get 1,000 snacks, it's going to be hard to undo that, right? So you can say this line instead, like, you know, like, I really made a mistake. Mommy and Daddy really don't want you to have 1,000,000 snacks. Let's do something else fun today, and I'll send a snack home with you today, obviously pre-approved by Mom and Dad. And again, the impact is that your son sees your willingness to change, it rebuilds trust, and your grandchild learns respect for boundaries, right? I can't just do what I want. I have to listen to Mommy and Daddy too. If Bubby and Grandma and Grandpa have to listen, so do I, right? So grandparenting lets you model that respect and that empathy and repair and shows your adult child that you're growing and you're committed to grow. So how do we weave that respectful parenting and grandparenting into lifelong relationships? So here are 3 practices that are basically summing up really what I just said. So listen and validate, always. From tantrums when they're little to adult frustrations to making your grandchild feel heard. So you say, I see how much this matters to you, right? When we validate, it doesn't mean we're agreeing. We're just saying, I know this is important to you, and so I want to listen. It doesn't mean that I think it's right, but I know that these are your feelings, so I care about it. And it respects their emotions and it builds trust. We will model respectful relationships, so we show respect, empathy, and repair in our interactions, and we apologize when we're wrong, and we explain our reasoning, and we show kindness. And this, again, equips our kids and grandkids for healthy relationships. And we embrace imperfections with repair. So you know you're going to let your kids and your grandkids down. I say, like, just accept that this is probably going to be what we're going to do. We're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable, but as a respectful parent or a grandparent, we acknowledge those mistakes and we repair them. And that shows that relationships can heal and grow stronger. So, friends, wonderful women, thank you for listening to me. Parenting and grandparenting are really the hardest, but most beautiful jobs that we will ever have. And through every stage, diapers, defiance, and adulthood, even grandkids, we can build strong and loving relationships with respectful parenting. So equipping yourself with skills like co-regulation, collaboration, empathy, and repair, and yes, seizing grandparenting as a chance to repair and heal. I want you to write this on your bathroom mirror, post it on your fridge, put it on the background of your phone, just as a daily reminder. Could be an alarm that comes up. Just write, it's never too late. It's never too late. This should be like your philosophy, your motto in life. It's never too late. That we should be cycle breakers. We should show up with humility and respect and love. Our kids and our grandkids are waiting for that connection. So let's make it happen. And so hopefully I've inspired everyone to grow a little bit. We should be Zochats, keep learning and growing together, see an end to the war in Israel, bring all our hostages home. And thank you.